So what happened to my job? I just try to explain because I've done videos in Portuguese and in French about that, but mostly actually the most accurate if images here in French about my legal dismissal. Though I've done a video there in the beginning and a podcast. I should say it's just like an audio like this one. That's when I talk in Munchausen by proxy in English. I've showed already things about my work, but basically what happened if you watch or if you understand some French, or you can put like subtitles in English from your country and watch. I think I speak reasonable good French. It should be getting better because just 3 years out of the market, and even my English. But if you watch it, there's two episodes actually. There's 01, 02 about the company itself, and then there is about the people who were there. And I think I'm gonna use the picture of this chap here. So you ask me who is this? This guy, this chap there was a colleague of mine. He's with the army. I think he's, I guess, French army uniform, but just attention, because everybody in every country, even in Brazil, you have to serve the army. And in Brazil, because I have pericarditis, pneumothorax, I was like dismissed. And I mean, I didn't have to. Otherwise, I would go to. There's sort of there's two kinds. There's the normal one, and there's the you that you become an officer if you have like studies and everything, you pass the tests. And I was going like you were selected, and then I was selected, but because I have these episodes that they were happening since I was, I think, 15, 16, I was having from time to time. And then they detected that even was I've done the final test, and then for that it was just like it was okay, you don't need to do the army. For me, I didn't care too much, but I preferred not to, because I had university. I do like, sorry, it's just change of temperature. It's just summer coming here in France. um and sometimes the weather just changes. And so I was actually had other plans, just this thing that I'm going to do is like special for special troops or whatever. It was going to be easier because it's just like part-time. I guess it was better wages, but I mean it's a good, there must be probably it's a good profession for people who love it. Brazil is a it's a peaceful country. You don't have to worry about that. And then there were actually two like general quarters in my city. One, I think it was caught fire, and it's just like a few years ago, and I don't even think they rebuilt it. They just left like that. But here in France, it's, I think, I don't know if it's because that was obliged, was compulsory, I think we'd say. Then later on, it was optional because there's too many people, and actually because it's a way to get out of poverty for many people. As I come from a family that actually had a good means and wealthy family, it was not my case. I could choose to do university and other stuff, and though it's tough life for everyone. And then I think, I'm not sure if it's obliged again, if it's compulsory again, if I'm not sure if it's laws changed, but I remember that just few years, it was 93, they just changed the law and it was optional. I think here in France it's optional as well. But this colleague, this chap there over there, he always said he loved the army, and that his one of the pictures I took from one of these social networks, even when I was having problem with him. But for some reason, he just did in Brazil. You have to do it for 1 year. Doesn't matter. Even this, we call it CPOR, this special one, or the other one. If just go to normal army, it's at least 1 year. I don't know if you can. Depends on CPOR. You have to do 2 years, but it's 1 year. And here it's just 3 months. At least this guy said it was three months, and he loved it, and for somehow he was dismissed. I think looking at the picture, maybe you are thinking the same thing I am thinking, because this guy used to go 14 times to the toilet, smoke one cigarette after the other, just remain sitting down in a job that it's demanding, it's, if it's not, they're going to replace for a machine or for another person, it's demanding, demands effort. Just cannot stay. If you imagine the army, that you have to have a loads of discipline in there. Doesn't matter if you are for or against it, you have to have. And imagine this guy was in, I don't know, supposedly, I think, because the way he was, maybe drugs stuff or something mysterious, because he said, I said it, why, if you love so much the army. I know he made a test for the police here. He wanted to work like for police. It's just like, it was made me fear and just like laugh at the same time, because just the way the guy he is. And he didn't pass. He didn't pass the writing test. Actually, they accused me for writing. I said, look, maybe if you could learn with me, because writing is one of my strong points. I'm not practicing enough, but probably wouldn't fail. Or that's what he said. Or he didn't pass the psychological. He's aggressive. He broke my car, and then I showed the proofs that in other videos I showed that, and then the video in French that I'm showing, actually my manager and her daughter, and she has a son who worked there. Okay, she get along well, but they don't have like any degree. Just like it's tough. This market is the tertiary, and then this guy gets friends with her son. That's okay. She used to protect me. I could walk in tomorrow if there was like something to make someone to make the bridge, just a conciliation, something like that, and speak. And if she recognized, and she was protecting, because she knew I worked. That happened, not the same. I was never threatened like here in France, and never will have like anything broken, vandalized, if like this car did. So never happened in UK, because it's not UK. The guy, there's no guy. So she said, no, I'm not gonna tolerate violence. It's violence, he cannot even go to your home. Call me, say call the police, call something like that. Even though he said, I know police here, all the police here. He said things like that, but he knows two or three people that he knows, maybe more than that, but two or three, or that are gonna turn a blind eye. Maybe one of them, that's, I don't know, who is bad professional, is gonna help him to do something bad. But the other people, they are good. I believe in people. Even if they know him, they say, look, what you're doing, I do the same. What you're doing. I work for police, and I have a friend who is doing something wrong. I say, look, what you are doing, if this person is just not right, just don't do that. It's about my profession. That it's about human ethics. So I believe that, but he's tried to intimidate me with this. So when I pass to the things, you're gonna just watch if things click on place. When I passed the contest to my sister, because he was breaking my social life, I felt slightly under threat, though I'm used to it. And I told him, look, if something happens to me, people know it's you. It comes from you, and my manager doesn't want like bloodshed for shop. But when my sister got the contest, she started to like, that's the Munchausen syndrome by proxy came through her from my mother, and she passed to her parents. I said, no, don't whatever happened, don't pass. She wanted, yeah, Zerta, I want to help you. Let's talk. Send me a voice message on WhatsApp or something. What's a voice message? Okay, I'm gonna send you. I want to help you, tell me what's going on, and just say, okay, there is these people here, and then maybe I give you the contact of my manager, because she's nice, though I have problems like everyone, but just in case, because the guy, he was putting people, always one or two colleagues against me. There's always one colleague was coming, they are not staying there, and they always putting against me and saying, don't work, just leave him work alone, and things like that. And just told my sister. Then my sister, no, you Hurton, you are paranoid. Just everybody in your stuff is good. Oh my goodness! So it's just like I took my drive license here, just like the you have to do two tests, one for the code, like the from like just the code stuff, and just to know the signs. That's different from I think, because it's different from UK, it's different from Brazil, and they have to do a practical test, and just like a drive license, just like it's something dangerous. So I have things able, and then my sister just comes with this conclusion. And then things, if you see how things start, they support this guy who actually broke my car, this chap over there. And then of course they both are gonna hide things, my manager and my family, especially my family. They are who triggered it. She cut it contact with me. And this guy, he was like humble, I mean, he's horrible, but he was being humbled. I think you have to use the verb, because of my manager. She was putting him like at, let's say, at his place, even he was her son's friend, quote, I don't know how much friend, because it's interest, of course. But she knew I worked. He had a bad rota. I mean, bad rota. We didn't cross. Like we didn't did just like on Saturdays. We just see each other, and he depended on me to arrive, and I arrived just like he did to everyone else. Like he just arrived straight on time. So just cause a list of delay to put the till on. And he said, yeah, you do exactly. It was being like for 4 or 5 months. And he was, of course, he was thinking about quit. And my sister takes, and the manager changed the rota. She puts me to work 30 minutes, 40 minutes with him. He doing nothing. Like there was 4 people laughing at my face, and then he gets his confidence back, and they start to massacre me. Do the things click in place, and then my sister cuts contact, and I start to be massacred and overcharged until I said everyone is good. Then I lose my job. Then my mother, after 1998, she gets my WhatsApp, gets my mail. She goes, oh, I knew about this story, but forget about these bad people. I'm the only good person. So what a beep, what a, so she did that on purpose. She always did that. But he made the link. She gets a bad person like that. She profits. She put my father against me, and that's what happened. How do I prove that it's total torture? If you check, I'm not gonna do many editions. I'm just gonna put a picture. I think I'm gonna put a picture of this chap. But if you check, I have the letter. That makes 4 pages. I guess something around that. It's just like 3-4 pages. But the two first pages is the main, like the main stuff. That's the rest is just like you can dismiss the rest, even it's been foolish stuff. But she put me to work. That's in the letter. She just changes the timing from the end of the first page to the beginning of the second page, just like 5 minutes. It's just a small mistake, yeah, but she does. She waited like 1 month for the comments to disappear. She doesn't mention my break. She doesn't mention my break at all. She should mention, Horton, you took your break at 4 o'clock. You are supposed to. And she doesn't mention any colleague, because if she mentions your colleague took his break, then you just abandoned your post. And she should said like that. No, she said you closed. She used the word in French that's closed. There's no, you close the shop. And if I closed, either I closed my colleague inside it, he should, or you abandon your colleague or something. I close him inside. You can open, because if you see the previous video, there's an automatic door. You can open from inside. Either doors you can open from inside, but there's, you can see straight away, but even he was there, he was been crying. The accusation would be worse. And I worked the weekend after, because this was the 21st April 2019. So the 27th and 28th I worked as well, and I kept working that week. And just in the beginning of June, she called me. I was going to work. It was a Thursday, I never forget. And I was going to work, and she called me and said, no, don't come. Just you're receiving a letter, something like that. You are suspended. What? What is this? What for? Because she combined. She told me like the Friday, the 19th of April, you're gonna work alone. She told me, and you know about my break, because with her, the previous manager, we worked alone many times because there was no staff. She had problems with staff, like just missing work. And if I open the shop, like there's 2 shops. If I open the shop, then they separate. There's one manager for each. And my manager used to manage another shop from the same company, but there's different stuff, and it's not busy. These 2 shops, they're quite busy. The upstairs is very, very busy. So, but if the shop downstairs there's no people to open it, my manager would be happy. And she was one of the toughest person I've seen live. So tough that I don't want to go back there, because it was painful. And I would like, maybe I like her, but I'm not gonna deliver things like she wants if I stayed there. I know, and I prefer the shop downstairs. But if I open just for 3 hours in the morning, it should have been open from a quarter past five until midday. If I open just, I work like from quarter past five for 3 or 4 hours for whatever, should be happy and should say, okay, just do 1 hour break, 1 hour and 30 minutes. And that, but this second manager, she didn't like this. She didn't like people to work alone. It was always supposed to work in two. There's another thing, the shop, they do like workings, like they refurbished it and it got bigger. They enlarged actually the area, so it's like it got like 50% bigger. I don't know. In total, they put like more. So it's not like the shop upstairs. There's loads of people, but yes, we had loads of more people sometimes rush, but not on that Saturdays and Sunday. There was manifest riots here in France. Was very quiet. Sunday evening, no one, and Saturday was very quiet. Sunday could be just like at 1 o'clock when we opened, because we opened it just in the afternoon. The other days we open in the morning at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then at 3, 4 o'clock, and maybe sometimes at 6. But then there's no excuse. She told me, just you work alone, then okay, I do my break during the day, but if I want, I just hold and I do in the end, I do all together, cause no toilet, no food. I just took, I don't know, I could close probably 1 hour earlier, cause people smoke. They spend normally here in France, they spend it just outside of break and lunchtime or whatever, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half smoking. This guy used to spend like 4 or 5 hours smoking from 8. It's just like the company's not paying him. The problem is that it doesn't matter if it doesn't affect my job. If I don't have to do things for him, if I can serve customers, if the customers are not being, they don't suffer because of this lack of staff. There's that's teamwork. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna work alone. That's weird, but then she doesn't mention anything, so it's very clear, because the first thing should accuse of something very serious, and then it looks like a childish letter of dismissal. But she took me that, and she waited 1 month. The letter dates from the 21st May 2019. It's just making birthday tomorrow, because now it's 20th May, and that's 3 years. But actually, that's the date that it's in the letter, inside the letter, because the letter arrived to me in the beginning of June. I was quite checking. I was under stress, yes, but I was trying to check like my letterbox, like at least almost every day, if not every 2 days. And it arrived. It was the 5th of June. Is then when I tell my family, and my family gets happy. I was blocked by then by my both sister, by my father and his molester wife, the perpetrator, the crazy and the evil, and doing this thing. Then they unblocked me. Oh wow, what amazing! Let's open a bottle of champagne and celebrate that you were fired finally. Then said, oh, everybody there was. So you see the thing. Yeah, I see the stuff. Just it's clear cut for me. There is it's like it's clear cut for everyone. Then it's ridiculous, because 1 month, why? Because the cameras there, which you should. There's some places that they keep like USB records. She wouldn't, because it's a lot of images. Just that there are 3 cameras actually in the shop. There are 4 actually. There are 2 up on top of the tills, one of each till, I guess. I think it's 1 or 2 cameras. I'm not sure. I think there are 2 over there, or it's 1. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It's been 3 years. But then there's one, and there's one part of the shop that just takes, and there's another part of the shop that's not taken, and there's one in the office. Yeah, there are 2 cameras, because the screen divided in 4, though. So she had access, but because it's a lot of images. Oh, okay. Like I worked in hotels, they keep like USB records. I think it's good for me. It would be good if she said she fired me for the cameras, but show the cameras. She waited, but everybody there knew that after 1 month they are erased, because it's too much for the hard drive, or the computer was not that new. Though it could be, of course, by network being recorded in the head office, something like that. at least, but that's what she's gonna claim. So actually, she's claiming the opposite. She claimed that she fired me for the camera, but she's taking advantage that hypothetically the cameras are erased. If they are the records, they don't want to show. If there is an order from judge, they're here, but I think it's very very difficult until you find confidence that they ask to open like not even a sample. They can ask a sample for 2 or 3 months. They're gonna see. That's horrible. What happened? There's just one login. There is the paperwork. That's the paper that come from the printer. That they just like a long arrival, then a long depart. I think you can say like that. In departure, when you to close out the queues in the system in the office later on. But there is the break time that we do that actually it gets out like a piece of paper every time you get out of. Myself, I always had to do with my colleagues. I don't know the others. On the other shifts, I didn't work on the other shifts if she was lenient about it, but I always did. And even if it did like 40 minutes, she didn't even care, because there's just a piece of paper. And she know that the breaks there were allowed at 30 minutes, but sometimes it did less, sometimes, but 40 minutes was the average. And she knew I didn't smoke. She was totally fine that I went to the toilet. If the guy went 14 times, I don't want to, I just need to, some days I don't even need to go to the toilet. I need to go to 1, 2 times, a bad day 3 times. And but if she's going 14 times, I'm gonna go 13 times, just because it's just ridiculous. And just that never brought me problems until she said separate and he had to work. Because look, that's just ridiculous. Now either you buy diapers for everybody, for your staff, just like she used to laugh at it, just cause, just like, and then he's gonna smoke like in front of the shop uh it's like 45 times and say, look, can I get some can I breathe, and then my sister gets things and she never worked and says, oh, like that, then it's easy to prove. If there is like an order, like we call it that in at least in French and Portuguese, like mandate from, but the mandate is like, there's actually D, because there's 2 words in at least in Portuguese. That means a judicial order to open the things. It don't need to be a sample. It can be the whole story since I started to work there. That shows that I'm totally always on time, before my time. Many times I left the job after, and she fires me because of that. I read in the news that a guy who was fired because he went to take his 6 years old son to the hospital. He was not feeling well. He was fired. That's abusive already. That's horrible. And I read this is one of the. I think I took a print screen. I think it's Europe 3 or France 3, something like that. I don't know what's the agency. It's a big one, but it's just came. My case, it's like that, but I consider even worse. That's it's a bad case. When I felt pity. I didn't read all of the article, but it's horrible what they do. It's horrible. He shouldn't be fired. But my case, I worked there. I took her word. I kept my word. I did my job. I could have closed the shop actually 3 hours earlier, because it's just like it's abusive order. Just you cannot. After 6 hours in French, you have to do a break. You are allowed to, and you have to. Even if this toughest job and toughest manager in my life, I told her, do you want me? Sometimes she was so stressed. I used to reduce for 30 minutes to 20 minutes. And I told her once at least, do you want me to work without pause, without a break today? We say pause in French. Do you want me? I'll have to learn French here. I don't speak my language, Portuguese. But do you want me to work like without break? It's okay. I'm gonna do that. If you're stressed, if you feel. And she said no. If you do that, I am problem with the law. Just take a break or whatever. Just go relax a bit, because she saw that I was like trying to help her in the most. Then okay, if she asks me, I would say I do that. And if you do that, you're gonna be in problem. No, she can be in problem. Even if I'm doing, being nice to her, I was nice, and no, I'm just not gonna being sincere. I just want to help. She knows that there was no problem. There was no mail with this manager, no quarrel. There is just like a changeover from then this manager took over from down there. She was nicer, looks nicer. But then I put things about her daughter that I used to get along well with her, but then you have both sides of a person, and then it doesn't matter. I started to, she claims that, oh, you closed the shop to 45 minutes, one page, 40. Doesn't matter. She does not mention it. 30 minutes pause, then she's firing me for 10, 15 minutes, and she's lying, and she's not counting that I didn't eat. There is no toilet. I think there is still no toilet there. There's never so much. You always had to go up and to go to the toilet. And then, if, like I said, if you get like the digital things, the digital material, for her to fake, it's gonna be very difficult. And all the paperwork, because they have to keep it for 5-10 years, all the paperwork she's gonna fake is gonna give a lot of work, and people have to be very unethical. So she fired me under a lie that's supported by my family, that said, don't go to court, trying to intimidate. And then I was under threat here, and I felt afraid. And this, now it's the way that I starting to speak. If you know this, if you know that's, no, that's not a fiction story. Sometimes I receive like the algorithms, I think, like horror things in especially for Twitter, and just horror author things. No, it's just my story, it's a true story. And if you know, just tell me, tell people. That's, I put my name because I could hide myself, I could be afraid. There's a time there's no more fear, because I'm gonna stagnate. I'm gonna be. I'm being defamed. You can understand that it suits well to my family. I have like a sick mother like that. It suits out to my sister. 50% plus 50% instead of 33. They execute their brother, my both sisters, two, the twin and the younger. They execute like in subreptitious way, in a disguised way. They execute, either disappear or starve to death or something bad, or like they say no, we love him, or I end up in a very horrible state, like starving, or in, I don't know, stressed with this and under threat. And I, for some reason, they put me in an airplane, like my father wants. My father is saying in mails, I'll have to publish, I'm gonna find a way to get you back here. And she's gonna put me in the attic or in the basement, something like, and give me like fish heads, like in the Simpsons thing, just like for her. Now your mother is gonna do something to you, just be alone with her, be nice to her, suck her teeth, like she said to me when I was 13. He was gonna say, no, everything is a lie. Don't you watch things like that? No, I'm not gonna go back. I learned English, I learned French, and my mother is sick like that. When I said this, it was when I was 13. She said, oh, she just pulled her shirt off and just like, oh, like to suck my tits, my baby. What the fuck, what the fuck, this crazy motherfucker, just like, this is my mother, it's just fucking, no. Even though I was quite young, I wasn't in puberty as well. I think that's disgusting, just, you're sick. And it could be like she's playing, but she's just like, she was sick in the head, that woman, And then that's that's domestic violence, that's child abuse. Then it comes, she picks on me, she has a bad relation. And I published in many videos and many podcasts and on my networks. My father, 2 3 months, he's a gynecologist, he was sending like a porn message. Like, I published that, is a classic, and that's in Portuguese, but machine learning can translate that easily. If you have like an application or something like that, it's gonna translate. It doesn't, sometimes doesn't do very well. I've watched some translation. There are mistakes, but when you can see like the words I'm wanting, well, at least Portuguese people is gonna, Spanish people is gonna understand that very easily. And if you just try to translate word to word yourself, you're gonna see what he's saying. So it's just like happy, and just to show that their marriage or their, I don't know, union or partnership is a facade. And then they're happy. Then everything is on my back. Then you can see how is criminally dismissed here in France. I love here. I love France. Like, I love England. It's not because you have sometimes a problem, but they did it's not the city, especially the city. I love the city, but it's not because a shop does that, like that to me. Then I'm waiting, I'm waiting to feel stronger, to go to justice and just happen, and just say to my manager, look what you did. Either you put him to work back, you paid him compensation, or if you don't pay compensation, understand, you accuse his father, and you get him back, or she can lose her job. It can be like shameful for her as well. But either you get like understand each other, just to a conciliation, or just what am I gonna do, just if you just pass on the story and just like trying to like a bottle in the ocean. I said one, and just pass on the story because it's real. Just imagine, it's easy to, I'm making up. No, I'm showing the proofs before. Does it have some sense? Yes, I think it does very well. It fits very well this stuff, so just these people to get caught, so I got isolated without job. Just that there's the lobby and stuff, and I fighting for my life. For if you are an employer, and you think, oh, this guy, cause I studied many things informatics. I like you have like a sincere person here, and he speaks good English. Can be good if he speaks some French. Then talk to me. I want actually to do good things. If you see, if your social network, or if you want to help people, doesn't matter, and then talk to me, because if I'm not gonna do wrong things, because some people say, oh, blah blah blah. No, I'm not gonna do. Oh, you are sometimes say you're playing the victim. I'm not a victim. What I'm gonna do, play the a bandit? No, I'm gonna ask for my rights and try to expose it. Because if I kept quiet, like I said, for 3 years, almost 3 years, because I started to expose the thing, it didn't help. Not I have to go to the supermarket for more. I pray, it doesn't help. People just get away. I'm gonna put myself down on my knees before the shop. She's gonna have a laugh. She's gonna take me, and then she's gonna cover one lie with another lie. Then I'm saying, then I have more hope that she gets back. And she said, look, that's the things is getting spread. These things being known like this about this guy. Probably the company sometimes go back, oh, what we did, it's just too tough. Was it for personal thing? I doubt. There's some issues sometimes, like in every job. But when my sister, if she points out the finger, the thing is that she's confessing that my father influenced it for that her to trap me, and you don't do that. That's torture. That's not abusive. That's more than abusive. That's torture. Then I have to suffer with that. So these are my podcasts. I hope they get shorter. Eventually, I do one with putting out the proofs, but because they are not in English language as well, so I don't mind very much. And you can have access to the other podcasts to spread around. You can and I have very few subscribers. It's not the way, but it's my way to talk it eventually to get justice to work or to find a way out. And the people who have to pay, they are in Brazil, they're over there. That's clear, That's, you cannot be clearer than that. But of course, there they protect themselves. I'm away, so I need to find a solution. Thank you.